Plaintiff Jasmine Tabb says the defendant is her cousin, and when they were younger, she never stood up for herself, so Jasmine often had to fight her battles for her. Jasmine's suing because she claims the defendant crashed her car while Jasmine's kids were in the car. Defendant Tiara Beverly Bourne says she didn't grow up around Jasmine because she was raised in Canada, but Tiara admits that when she came to visit, she could be quite annoying because she talked a lot. Tiara insists Jasmine is suing her prematurely.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Okay, well, first I want to say I'm 28 years old, so I've kind of grew up watching your show. My grandmother, I was always at her house, so she watched it every day. So it was kind of like a second babysitter to me. 'Cause if she would fall asleep and I would turn that channel, she would wake up like, turn back, turn back. So, and then my mom, who's also like a huge fan of yours, she will always reference to you. Like if someone wronged her, she'll be like, I'm going to message Judge Mathis, or I'm going to call Judge Mathis. So I was your
babysitter and your mama's husband.
That's right. You actually might be seeing my mom soon because she say my brother owed her some money. So
bring
well, I
on.
kind of felt like you were part of the family in a way. So
good. I'm glad we could meet personally, and you knew where to come for justice.
Yes. So me and her, when we were growing up, most of the family is from Detroit. So she lived in Canada with her mom, so we weren't as close.
Where do you live?
Detroit.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay.
We both in Detroit right now.
Okay.
Yes. So
you look a little familiar. You ever met me in Detroit?
Not that I can remember. I've been to your little office or
community center in Detroit?
Yeah, the community center.
What's little about it?
It's not little, but it's like
10,000 square feet.
It's not little, but I've been there before.
You diminished it. Now, folks don't know that that's what they do when they say that. People say that to each other. Yeah, I'm going to come to your little party. Well, I've been to your little, you're diminishing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're going to come, I'm coming to your big party. I was at your big place. I don't get offended. I know that's a term that people use. And that years ago, that dawned on me. It seems like when you're saying that. Yeah, I seen your little friend. I met your little friend trying to talk to me. I say, he's 6'5". Little. All right, so what high school did you go to in Detroit?
I went to Radford my 9th grade year, and then I did my rest of my years at Henry Ford.
Okay, how about you?
I went to Cooley my first semester of 9th grade year, and then Northwestern the rest of my high school career.
All right. And I'm trying to steer y'all in the right direction because y'all act a fool. I'm going to act a fool back on you. All right. Start with you again. And you all are cousins. And tell me more.
So she was staying in Canada, so we wasn't as close when we was kids. But when she did come around, we used to always joke with her about how like she was real proper and she really didn't stand up for herself. So we all kind of took that role to like have her back or fight her battles for her. So this one particular time when she was about 12 and I was about 15, I decided that this was it. She was gonna fight today. So I closed the door and I told her like, y'all going to fight now. So, but to my surprise, she beat the girl up and I was like super duper shocked.
And she's been violent ever since.
She's been violent ever since.
I hope not. What happened after that?
Ever since then, she done learned some stuff visiting us in Detroit. So I was very proud of her. I never had a problem out of her letting people pick on her since then. So fast forward, as we start to get older, we started getting closer. She even stayed with me for a couple of months when she was pregnant about 5 years ago. We never really hung out like clubbing or nothing like that. So the night that the accident happened was going to be our first time like going to the club together. So I was super excited. But so in November of 2018, we were celebrating my birthday. She spent the night. So she dropped me off at work that morning and she was supposed to pick me up. Now I made it very clear when she dropped me off that wasn't sure at the time that I was getting off, so that I would call her or text her when it'd be time to come and pick me up. So
Before we get straight to that, let me ask her to give me some background.
Okay.
All right, so tell me about your little life.
Well,
how's that sound?
it's a little.
Go ahead.
For starters, it's nice to meet you. Just like Jasmine, I did grow up watching you. I was quite annoying as a little kid because I talked a lot. And I'm very talkative to this day. No one can quite shut me up or make me be quiet. But because I did watch you, like Jasmine, you were my babysitter, I've learned not to talk over you, not to interrupt you while you're talking, and not to say anything out of the way.
Disrespectful.
Yes. My talking ways could be quite annoying, especially to family and friends. And like she said before, I was living in Canada growing up, so by the time I got annoying to them, it was time for me to go home. So then they turn around and they miss me.
And you stayed with her?
Yes, while I was pregnant.
How did that go?
Honestly, it was around the time where I was in my marriage at the time, so really, it went well.
No good.
I helped her out, she helped me out, and then when my husband came back, I went back with him.
You all still together with your child?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you doing all right, though? You and your child?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right, and you all have always gotten along other than this we're here for today?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell me the specifics of why we're here on the breach of contract.
Okay.
Continue.
So about 1 o'clock that day, I got a phone call from her, and all I could hear was my kids screaming in the background. And my initial thought was that something at the house happened because she wasn't supposed to be gone yet. So I'm like, what's going on? What happened? What happened? And she was like just crying and saying she's sorry. She crashed into somebody and she's sorry. So I immediately left work. On the way there, I'm thinking like, where in the heck was she going? And like, what happened? So when I get to the scene, I see that the car is totaled. So I asked her, like, what happened to you? And she was like, well, my glasses fell on the passenger floor. So she reached to pick them up and hit the car. But it didn't make sense to me. So I'm just like, was you texting or on FaceTime or something? What was you doing? Because the car was parked. It wasn't moving.
Right. And so how did your glasses fly?
All the way on the passenger side. It fell after she hit the car. That's when it fell. So
that's what you're assuming.
That's what I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
So
sounds more logical.
Mm-hmm. So I owed $2,500 on the car. It was a 2008 Malibu, and it was an agreement between her and I that she would pay $150 a month starting in December of 2018. Had she kept that agreement, it would have been paid off by March of 2020. Up to date, if you look at the evidence, page 3, she has paid me a total of $1,025.
Okay, let me allow her to tell me what happened and what her defense is. Young lady.
Well, sir, November in 2018, I was indeed driving her car, and I was under the impression that I had to pick her up at 1 because that was a message I got from her to pick her up at 1. And I never received another message saying, don't wait. Well, she did send it to me, but I just didn't look at it. Okay,
so she gave you the wrong time.
And I just didn't look at it.
That caused the accident, so you shouldn't have to pay.
Well,
because if she had given you the right time, it wouldn't have happened.
Well, in a little way, yes and no, because
it would have been 1 on the nose as opposed to 105. It wouldn't have happened. Your glasses wouldn't have flown off.
Well, in a way, yes and no.
Go ahead, tell me the other way.
I was actually, when I was driving to her, I woke up kind of late that day. And I figured I was under the pressure of having to pick her up at 1 p.m. And so I woke up kind of late in the rush.
What time did you wake up?
It was like around 12, going on 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
Yeah, when I had to pick her up.
What you doing all night?
I went out with my friends the night before.
What were y'all doing?
We were just hanging out at a friend's house.
I hope so, because people in Detroit don't do crack no more. That's out of style. Crack is out of style in Detroit. You hear I don't call anybody from Detroit crackheads because it's out of style.
No, sir.
Everybody's smoking weed now.
No, I wasn't smoking weed. We were just hanging out drinking.
Smoking that green dragon.
No, sir.
Green dragon.
Purple haze.
No, sir. I do not smoke marijuana.
Hash.
No, sir.
Them little pins,
No, sir.
edibles.
No, sir.
Government had you sleeping until noon. You need to say yes to something, because otherwise you sound trifling. I'd rather be high than to sound trifling. I'd rather admit to being high. If I wake up at noon, I'm gonna say, yeah, I was high. What were you high off, Judge? I don't know everything. I wouldn't say, well, I wasn't high off nothing. I just wake up at noon. That makes me sound trifling.
I was just out all night. I didn't get back into the house until
All
like 4 or
night
5
doing
o'clock.
what?
Drinking with my friends
That was that Hennessy.
Where?
at my friend's house on Spokespan. I think I pronounced that right.
Spokane?
Yes. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Smoking cocaine.
That's great.
So it sounds like, to top it off, you had been drinking the night before. Okay, and so you feel she gives you the wrong time. Fast forward to the accident.
Fast forward. I was actually listening to music and I was trying to change the station. At the time, her radio was a little lower than normal radios are in cars. So I have to look down.
You smoke gang.
No, I don't know how to multitask, so I have to look at what I'm doing, honestly. So I looked down, and at the time I had different pair of glasses on that were very loose.
Look down to do what?
Change the radio station.
So what did you think, taking your eyes off the road?
I mean, it was for a quick second.
Okay, all right.
It was a quick second.
And what happened?
And then eventually I did run into the back of a car because I was swerving a little, trying to do it. I hit the back of a car and my glasses did
You
fall.
just said it was a split second.
Okay, so you know how when you're driving and you take your eyes off the road a little, maybe some people who are
don't know
experienced.
that.
I had just got my license. I wasn't an experienced driver at that time.
That's the problem we have here. What happened when the accident occurred?
When the accident occurred, I hit the back of his car. I was going a little bit above the speed limit because, like I said, I was in the rush.
And she had your children in the car?
Yes, she did.
Hungover from the night before, speeding, distracted driving, self-distracted, with the kids in the car. Come on, ma'am. All right, and so why don't you think you should have to pay?
Well, I don't think I don't have to pay, sir.
Okay. You
I am in
believe you
agreement
owe
that I
her?
do have to. Oh, I do owe her the money.
Good.
I just feel that she needs to give me just a little time because, as you can see in the evidence on page 6, the last time I did pay her was February of 2020, and it was a lump sum of $300. And we technically did not have an agreement to paying her every month. It was when I got extra money that was available to pay her.
She says it was $150 a month. Didn't you say that was
Yes.
an agreement? You have evidence of that agreement?
I don't have evidence that's agreement, but I have that she paid the $150 in December of 2018. So she only paid that one time of the $150 in December of 2018, and then 2019 she paid me money then. But it's like she would pay in sporadic amounts, and the only time she would give me something is when I would be like, hey, like, she bought a car, or like she'll buy something. I'd be like, well, dang, where is my money? So
You said you scared to ask for your own money.
no, and I asked her.
Because you taught her how to be violent. Taught her
No, I
by see how
asked her.
teaching folks violence backfire on you. Now you scared to even ask for your money.
No, I asked her, but if she doesn't have it, I'm not gonna. Then the only
Correct.
reason why I didn't be like so aggressively towards her is because she's my little cousin, and I did understand like her circumstances that she was going through, but at the same time, it's like I've given her time. This happened in 2018, so
Okay, well, I'm glad you didn't get violent. I know you Redford and Henry Ford crowd, y'all think y'all tough. Till y'all come up the street to Cody,
so
where I went.
I wouldn't have done that
Or
to
the
her.
semester that I went there. You say you wouldn't have done that.
No, not.
Come around the Herman Gardens crowd. Your mother let you date boyfriends over in Herman Gardens?
No.
No.
You gotta see it like that.
What a reaction.
Under no circumstance. See, hey, you show them what you could have got.
That's right.
Linda's mother and them, they let her date me, my wife. Worked out for her.
Maybe she should have let me. I'm gonna have to
Come in
tell
here
her.
and put my community down. Ma'am, so I'm glad to hear you agree, but why haven't you been able to pay? I mean, have you lost work since COVID or something?
In 2020, I was in and out of work. Due to COVID, I was in and out of work with working at the hospital. It was kind of an incident that happened. where I didn't want to be around a certain person, and the managers were all on their team, pretty much to say, and this was unfair to me. They weren't giving me the hours and whatnot, so I did.
So what about the supplemental payments, the COVID payments?
Well, sir, like she mentioned in 2020, I did have my own apartment, and I have my own bills I have to take care of, and like I said, it wasn't an agreement. A contract.
Yeah, but we're talking about ability to pay. That's where we're at now. It was an agreement. You told her you would pay for it.
Yeah, I told her I would pay for it.
You were negligent and you agreed to pay. Even if you didn't agree to pay, you were negligent, you would have to pay by law. So I was trying to give you an opportunity to say why, because most folks who are watching who may have taken care of their business properly know that they were able in many instances to get money to sustain the same lifestyle they had. Some people did not lose a lot of income. And thank God for that help that the government provided. So that's what I was trying to hear from you on that end. Emotional distress, how does she owe you for that?
Okay,
$500.
The emotional distress comes from my 2 children that were in the car with her. My daughter, she sustained a bruise on her forehead. It was like a big circle scab. And then my son, who was 5 at the time, is extremely traumatized from the event. Like he doesn't want to get in the car with anybody, especially if he see her, he'll be like, oh, mommy, no. So he only really wants to ride with me and his dad. So that's where the emotional distress comes from.
I will grant that. 500 is a little low, too, for your child to have been scarred. So might want to talk to him a little more about that. So I'll grant you your judgment, both for the damage of the car and the emotional distress, $1,975. All right. Have a good day, ladies.
No, I love her, and I just had to do this.
I have nothing to say. She knows she's my road dog. I'm going to be at her house next weekend.